told you that despite all our technological advances, despite sending rovers to Mars and mapping the human genome, there are mysteries on our own planet that continue to baffle the world's brightest scientists? What if some of these mysteries are so profound that they challenge everything we think we know about human history, physics, and even reality itself? Picture this. Somewhere in the Pacific Ocean, there's a city made of stone blocks, weighing up to 50 tons each, built on artificial islands connected by canals. No one knows how it was constructed. In the depths of Antarctica, researchers have discovered a mineral that shouldn't exist on Earth. Yet there it is, identical to compounds found on Mars. And in laboratories around the world, quantum physicists are grappling with evidence that time itself might not flow in just one direction. These aren't science fiction stories or internet conspiracies. These are documented phenomena that have left researchers scratching their heads, publishing papers filled with more questions than answers, and sometimes simply admitting, "We don't know." Today, we're diving deep into 29 of the most perplexing, unsolved mysteries that span across archaeology, physics, biology, and even our understanding of human evolution. I've organized these into 5 distinct categories, each representing a different frontier where science meets the inexplicable. From ancient civilizations that accomplished impossible feats of engineering, to quantum phenomena that suggest reality is far stranger than we imagined, to genetic anomalies that rewrite the story of human evolution. What makes these mysteries particularly fascinating isn't just that they're unsolved. It's that they have real physical evidence. We are not talking about folklore or legends here. We're talking about artifacts you can touch, DNA sequences you can analyze, and phenomena you can measure. Yet despite having this tangible proof, our current understanding of science history and technology simply cannot provide adequate explanations. Some of these discoveries were made decades ago and continue to puzzle researchers today. Others have emerged recently, as melting ice reveals ancient secrets and advanced technology allows us to peer deeper into the quantum realm. A few have been right under our noses for centuries, hiding in plain sight until someone asked the right questions. The implications of these mysteries extend far beyond academic curiosity. They force us to confront the possibility that our textbooks might be incomplete, that human civilization might be far older and more sophisticated than we've assumed, and that the universe operates according to principles we're only beginning to glimpse. What's particularly striking is how these mysteries seem to cluster around certain themes. Ancient civilizations demonstrating engineering capabilities that surpass our understanding of their technology. Biological phenomena that suggest evolution might work in ways we haven't yet discovered. Physical laws that appear to bend under specific circumstances. It's as if reality itself is trying to tell us something. We just haven't learned how to listen yet. But here's what's truly remarkable. Each new discovery, instead of solving these puzzles, often deepens them. When researchers analyze that impossible stone city in the Pacific, they don't find evidence of advanced machinery. They find precision that seems to exceed what such machinery could achieve. When geneticists decode mysterious DNA sequences, they don't find missing links. They find ancestry that points to human populations that shouldn't have existed. As we explore these mysteries together, I want you to approach them with both skepticism and wonder. These aren't tales designed to convince you of any particular theory. Instead, They're invitations to consider just how much we still don't know about our world, our history, and ourselves. They're reminders that the frontier of human knowledge isn't just out there in space. It's right here on Earth, sometimes buried in ice, sometimes hidden in our own genetic code, and sometimes standing in plain sight, waiting for us to develop the tools and wisdom to understand them. So buckle up, because we're about to embark on a journey that will challenge your assumptions about what's possible, what's known, and what's yet to be discovered. By the end of this exploration, you might find yourself looking at the world with entirely new eyes, seeing mysteries where you once saw certainty, and questions where you once found answers. Are you ready to question everything you thought you knew about reality? Let's begin. Throughout human history, we've operated under a fundamental assumption that knowledge progresses linearly. We believe that each generation builds upon the discoveries of the previous one, that our understanding of the world grows steadily more complete, and that the mysteries of today will inevitably become the solved problems of tomorrow. But what if this assumption is wrong? What if some mysteries persist, not because we lack the tools to solve them, but because they point to fundamental gaps in our understanding of reality itself? The story of human knowledge is far more complex than our textbooks suggest. Consider archaeology, a field that has repeatedly forced us to rewrite history. Just over a century ago, mainstream archaeologists insisted that complex civilizations couldn't have existed before ancient Mesopotamia. Then we discovered Göbekli Tepe in Turkey, a sophisticated temple complex that predates Stonehenge by 6,000 years and the pyramids by 7,000 years. Suddenly, we had to accept that hunter-gatherer societies were capable of monumentally complex construction projects that required advanced planning, sophisticated tools, and coordinated labor on a massive scale. But Göbekli Tepe was just the beginning. As archaeological techniques improved and exploration expanded into previously inaccessible regions, we began uncovering evidence of civilizations that shouldn't have existed according to our models of human development. We found evidence of advanced metallurgy in societies that allegedly hadn't discovered metalworking. We discovered astronomical knowledge in cultures that supposedly lacked the mathematical framework for such calculations. We uncovered architectural achievements that modern engineers struggle to replicate, built by people who allegedly lacked advanced tools. The pattern that emerges isn't just one of hidden history, it's one of hidden capability. Time and again, we've discovered that ancient peoples possessed knowledge and skills that don't fit our understanding of technological progression. They seem to understand principles of physics, engineering, and mathematics that we assumed were only discovered much later. This has forced archaeologists to confront an uncomfortable possibility. Perhaps human civilization is far older and far more sophisticated than we've allowed ourselves to believe. But archaeology isn't the only field grappling with paradigm-shifting discoveries. Modern physics, particularly quantum mechanics, has revealed a universe that operates according to principles that seem to violate common sense. At the quantum level, particles can exist in multiple states simultaneously, can influence each other instantaneously across vast distances, and can behave differently simply because they are being observed. Some physicists now seriously discuss the possibility that time might not be the linear progression we experience, that multiple realities might exist simultaneously, and that consciousness itself might play a fundamental role in shaping physical reality. These discoveries in quantum physics have profound implications that extend far beyond laboratory experiments. If time can indeed flow in multiple directions at the quantum level, what does that mean for our understanding of causality? If consciousness affects physical outcomes, how do we separate objective reality from subjective experience? And if multiple realities can exist simultaneously, which version of events should we consider real? Meanwhile, advances in genetics have revealed their own set of puzzles. The Human Genome Project, completed in 2003, was supposed to provide a complete blueprint of human evolution. Instead, it revealed that human DNA contains sequences that don't match any known evolutionary pathway. We've discovered genetic markers that suggest our ancestors interbred with populations that left no other trace in the fossil record. We've found evidence of rapid evolutionary changes that occurred far too quickly, according to traditional models of natural selection. Perhaps most intriguingly, geneticists have discovered that humans possess the genetic foundation for capabilities we don't currently express. The genes for producing venom, for example, exist in the human genome but remain inactive. This raises profound questions about human potential and the triggers that might activate dormant genetic capabilities. Climate science has added another layer of complexity to our understanding of Earth's history. Ice core samples from Antarctica and Greenland have revealed that Earth's climate has undergone rapid, dramatic changes, far more frequently than previously believed. These discoveries have forced scientists to reconsider not just the history of climate change, but the entire timeline of human civilization. If the planet experienced periods of warmth that could have supported advanced civilizations in regions now covered by ice, how much of human history might be literally buried beneath glaciers? The melting of ice due to current climate change has begun to reveal some of these secrets. Archaeological sites are emerging from retreating glaciers perfectly preserved by thousands of years of ice. These discoveries include not just artifacts, but entire settlements that push back the dates of human habitation in previously thought uninhabitable regions. Each new discovery forces us to expand our understanding of where and when human civilizations could have flourished. But perhaps the most unsettling aspect of these emerging mysteries is how they seem to interconnect. Ancient astronomical knowledge appears to correlate with sophisticated understanding of geology. Genetic anomalies cluster around the same time periods when archaeological evidence suggests rapid technological advancement. Quantum physical phenomena mirror principles that seem to be encoded in ancient symbolic systems. This interconnectedness suggests that what we're dealing with isn't just a collection of isolated mysteries, but rather pieces of a larger puzzle that challenges our fundamental assumptions about reality. It forces us to consider possibilities that mainstream science has been reluctant to explore, that human civilization might be far older than we believe, that our ancestors might have possessed knowledge we've lost, and that reality itself might operate according to principles we're only beginning to discover. The implications of these possibilities extend far beyond academic debate. They suggest that our current understanding of human potential, natural law, and historical development might be incomplete, or even fundamentally flawed. They raise questions about what other capabilities might be dormant within human consciousness and genetics, what other principles of reality we might be overlooking, and what other chapters of human history might be waiting to be rediscovered. As we delve into the specific mysteries that have emerged from these various fields, keep in mind that each one represents more than just an unsolved puzzle. They represent opportunities to expand our understanding of what's possible, invitations to question our assumptions about reality, and glimpses into aspects of existence that might be far more extraordinary than we've dared to imagine. Ancient archaeological mysteries. Nan Madol, the impossible stone city. In the middle of the Pacific Ocean off the coast of Pohnpei Island in Micronesia lies what might be the most impossible archaeological site on Earth. Nan Madol isn't just ancient. It's architecturally impossible, according to our understanding of the technology available to its builders. This sprawling complex of artificial islands covers over 200 acres and consists of nearly 100 man-made islets connected by a network of canals, earning it the nickname Venice of the Pacific. But here's what makes Nan Madol truly extraordinary. It's built from massive basalt logs, some weighing up to 50 tons each stacked like Lincoln logs, to create walls up to 40 feet high. The total weight of stone used in construction exceeds 750,000 tons. To put this in perspective, that's more stone than was used to build the Great Wall of China's most substantial sections. And it was transported to a remote island in the middle of the ocean without any evidence of the machinery ramps or infrastructure typically associated with moving such massive stone. Archaeological surveys have dated the primary construction to between the 13th and 17th centuries, though evidence suggests the site may have been in use much earlier. Local oral traditions speak of two mythological brothers who founded the city, but these stories describe the stones as flying through the air and settling into place, a detail that archaeologists initially dismissed as folklore until they began grappling with the logistics of the actual construction. The engineering challenges of Nan Madol are staggering. The basalt logs had to be quarried from a source several miles away, then somehow transported across water and precisely positioned to create interlocking walls without mortar. Modern engineers studying the site have concluded that moving stones of this size would require massive cranes and specialized equipment that simply didn't exist in the medieval period. Yet somehow, the builders of Nan Madol accomplished this feat with such precision that the walls have withstood centuries of Pacific storms and earthquakes. What makes the mystery even deeper is the complete absence of any tools or evidence of construction methods at the site. No ramps, no pulleys, no evidence of the massive workforce that such a project would require. It's as if the stones simply appeared in their final positions. Some researchers have suggested that the builders might have used a combination of rafts and tidal action to move the stones, but calculations show that this method would still require technology and coordination far beyond what we associate with medieval Pacific Island cultures. The purpose of Nan Madol is equally mysterious. The artificial islands served different functions. Some were residential areas for the ruling elite, others were used for food preparation, and still others appear to have been dedicated to ritual activities. But the massive investment in labor and resources needed to build such a complex suggests it was far more than just a city. Some researchers theorize it was a religious center. Others believe it was a statement of political power, and still others suggest it might have been designed for purposes we can't even imagine. Recent underwater surveys around Nan Madol have revealed that the complex extends beneath the current sea level, suggesting that either the original construction was even larger than what we see today, or that sea levels have risen significantly since its construction. This discovery has led some researchers to push back the potential dates of construction, which would make the engineering achievement even more remarkable. Perhaps most intriguingly, similar megalithic structures exist on other Pacific islands, suggesting that Nan Madol wasn't an isolated achievement, but part of a broader technological tradition that we've lost. The precision of the stonework, the scale of the construction, and the sophisticated understanding of hydraulic engineering required to build a city on artificial islands all point to a level of technological sophistication that doesn't match our understanding of Pacific Island cultures in the medieval period. How did a civilization without written records, without metal tools, and without large domestic animals manage to quarry, transport, and precisely position 750,000 tons of stone? What knowledge or technology did they possess that we've lost? Alien Mountain, Sri Lanka's mysterious petroglyphs. Deep in the humid tropical forests of Sri Lanka stands a massive rock formation known locally as Danigala, but referred to by researchers as Alien Mountain. This imposing geological feature rises abruptly from the jungle floor, its flat summit stretching out like an artificial platform, creating an almost otherworldly landscape that has drawn scientific expeditions for decades. But it's not the mountain's unusual shape that has captured researchers' attention. It's what's carved into its northwestern slope. In the 1990s, a team from the South Asian Institute of Paleoscience and Earth Studies conducted a comprehensive survey of the mountain and made a discovery that has puzzled archaeologists ever since. Covering the natural rock faces in dense concentrations are thousands of ancient petroglyphs, rock carvings that depict human figures, animals' abstract symbols, and geometric patterns whose meanings remain completely undeciphered. What makes these carvings particularly intriguing is their organization. Unlike most prehistoric rock art, which tends to be scattered randomly across available surfaces, the Danigala petroglyphs are arranged in precise straight lines and organized patterns. Some researchers have suggested this systematic arrangement indicates the carvings might represent some form of ancient astronomical observations or record-keeping system, though no one has been able to crack the code. Radiocarbon dating of organic materials found in the same cultural layers as the petroglyphs suggests they were created during the late Paleolithic period, roughly 12,000 to 30,000 years ago. This dating places the carvings among the oldest known rock art in South Asia, created by people who are supposedly hunter-gatherers with relatively simple technology. Yet the sophistication of the organizational system suggests a level of abstract thinking and long-term planning that doesn't match our understanding of Paleolithic cognitive capabilities. Archaeological excavations around the base of the mountain have revealed stone tools, ancient hearths, and evidence of continuous habitation or ritual use, spanning thousands of years. Small caves near the carved cliff faces show signs of repeated occupation, suggesting that Alien Mountain wasn't just a place where ancient people left some drawings. It was a significant site that drew people back generation after generation. But here's where the mystery deepens. Despite extensive excavations, no human remains have been found that can be directly linked to the creators of the petroglyphs. The stone tools and other artifacts found at the site are consistent with known prehistoric cultures, but they don't provide any clues about who created the elaborate carving system or why they chose this particular mountain for their work. Some of the carved symbols bear striking resemblances to astronomical markers, leading researchers to hypothesize that the prehistoric inhabitants of the region possessed sophisticated knowledge of celestial movements. If this interpretation is correct, it would suggest that complex astronomical observation and record-keeping developed much earlier than previously believed and in a region where such capabilities weren't thought to exist. Adding to the intrigue are reports of unusual aerial phenomena around Alien Mountain that date back centuries in local folklore and continue to the present day. Witnesses describe strange lights moving through the sky above the mountain, leading some researchers to investigate possible connections between the ancient carvings and these ongoing observations. While no scientific evidence has confirmed any extraterrestrial connection, the persistence of these reports has kept alive speculation about the mountain's significance. Modern attempts to decode the petroglyphs using various analytical methods have yielded frustratingly little progress. Computer analysis has revealed mathematical relationships between some of the symbols, but no clear pattern has emerged that would indicate a written language or symbolic system. The carvings seem to follow rules and organizational principles that we simply don't understand. Perhaps most puzzling is the question of purpose. Creating thousands of precisely organized petroglyphs would have required enormous investment of time and effort. The systematic nature of the work suggests it served some important function for the community, but without understanding the symbolic system, we can only speculate about what that purpose might have been. What did these ancient people know that motivated them to spend generations carving systematic patterns into a remote mountain? What system of knowledge or belief drove them to create what appears to be the oldest organized information storage system in South Asia? Band of Holes. Peru's precision mystery. On the Pisco Plateau in southern Peru, stretching across the arid landscape like a massive perforated ribbon, lies one of South America's most puzzling archaeological features. Known as the Band of Holes, this extraordinary site consists of more than 5,000 individual holes arranged in precise rows that extend for nearly a kilometer across the rocky terrain. Each hole measures approximately 1 meter in diameter and varies in depth from 30 centimeters to 40 centimeters, creating a pattern so regular and systematic that it appears almost machine-made. What immediately strikes observers about the Band of Holes is the remarkable consistency of the construction. The holes were either carefully excavated into the bedrock or built up using locally sourced stones, but in either case, they maintain an almost identical size and shape throughout the entire complex. The spacing between holes is remarkably uniform, and their alignment creates perfectly straight rows that seem to follow some predetermined geometric plan. Archaeological analysis based on artifacts found in the surrounding area suggests the holes were created during the pre-Inca period, before the Inca Empire established control over the region. However, radiocarbon dating has proven difficult because the holes themselves don't contain organic material that would allow for precise dating. This uncertainty about their age adds another layer to the mystery, as it's unclear whether they represent the work of a single culture or multiple civilizations working over an extended period. The purpose of these thousands of precisely crafted holes has generated numerous theories among archaeologists, but none has gained widespread acceptance. Some researchers propose they formed part of an ancient agricultural system possibly used for storing or processing food products. The uniform size of the holes would have made them suitable for holding standardized containers, and their organization in rows might have facilitated systematic distribution or inventory management. Other theories suggest the holes served ritual or religious purposes. The massive scale of the project and the precision of its execution indicate it held significant importance for the communities that created it. Some researchers have proposed that the holes might have been used in ceremonies related to agricultural cycles, astronomical observations, or ancestor worship. The systematic arrangement could have served as a kind of ritual calendar or ceremonial map. A more practical theory suggests the band of holes might have functioned as a taxation or tribute system. The standardized size of the holes could have served as units of measurement for collecting agricultural products from surrounding communities. Each hole might have represented a specific quota or tribute obligation, with the organized arrangement facilitating administration and collection. Recent technological surveys using drone satellite imagery and ground-penetrating radar have provided new insights into the site's construction, but haven't resolved the mystery of its purpose. These studies have revealed that the holes extend in both directions beyond what's visible from ground level, suggesting the original complex was even larger than previously thought. However, excavations of individual holes have yielded disappointingly little evidence about their function. What's particularly puzzling is the absence of artifacts within the holes themselves. If they were used for storage, ritual activities, or administrative purposes, we might expect to find residual evidence of their contents. Instead, most holes appear to have been deliberately cleaned or never used for storage at all. This absence of functional evidence has led some researchers to question whether the holes themselves were the primary purpose, or whether they were just one component of a larger system that we don't understand. The engineering required to create the band of holes shouldn't be underestimated. Excavating 5,000 holes to consistent specifications across nearly a kilometer of terrain would have required careful planning, skilled supervision, and coordinated labor involving hundreds or possibly thousands of workers. The precision of the layout suggests the builders used sophisticated surveying techniques and maintained quality control throughout the construction process. Some researchers have noted similarities between the band of holes and other mysterious archaeological features found throughout Peru and neighboring countries. These comparisons suggest that the systematic creation of geometric earthworks might have been part of a broader cultural tradition in pre-Columbian South America, one that we're only beginning to understand. The band of holes stands as a testament to the organizational capabilities and systematic thinking of ancient South American civilizations. But without understanding its purpose, we're left to wonder about the motivations and beliefs that drove an ancient people to invest such enormous effort in creating this precisely engineered mystery. What system of knowledge or belief was so important to these ancient people that they were willing to spend years creating thousands of identical holes arranged in perfect geometric order? These three archaeological mysteries share a common thread that challenges our fundamental assumptions about ancient civilizations. They all demonstrate technological and organizational capabilities that seem to exceed what we believe was possible for their creators. Nan Madol shows impossible engineering. Alien Mountain reveals sophisticated information systems, and the Band of Holes displays systematic planning on a massive scale. Each site raises the same uncomfortable question: if these achievements were possible thousands of years ago, what other capabilities might ancient civilizations have possessed that we've underestimated or completely overlooked? These aren't isolated anomalies. They're glimpses into a pattern of ancient sophistication that forces us to reconsider the entire timeline of human technological development. Perhaps most significantly, all three sites seem to represent knowledge or purposes that have been completely lost to time. We can see the evidence of their creators' capabilities, but we can no longer understand their motivations or methods. This suggests that human civilization might not progress as linearly as we assume. That knowledge and capabilities can be gained and lost. That technological sophistication doesn't always leave traces that later civilizations can interpret. Quantum and physical anomalies. The reversal of time's flow. When physics gets weird. In the sterile laboratories of quantum physics research facilities around the world, scientists are grappling with experimental results that challenge one of our most fundamental assumptions about reality: that time flows in only one direction. While we experience time as a linear progression from past to future, recent research in quantum mechanics suggests that at the subatomic level, time might be far more flexible than we ever imagined. The story begins with quantum systems and their peculiar behavior. Unlike the predictable world of classical physics, quantum particles exist in states of superposition, essentially being in multiple states simultaneously until they're observed. But here's where it gets truly mind-bending. Some quantum systems appear capable of evolving both forward and backward along the timeline without violating any fundamental physical laws. Researchers have demonstrated this phenomenon through carefully controlled experiments involving quantum wave functions. In these studies, scientists create quantum systems that can return to their original state by essentially undoing their evolution through time. The mathematical models supporting these experiments show that certain quantum processes can run in reverse, suggesting that the arrow of time isn't as absolute as our everyday experience would suggest. The implications of this research extend far beyond laboratory curiosities. If time can indeed flow in multiple directions at the quantum level, it raises profound questions about the nature of causality itself. Does effect always follow cause, or might there be circumstances where effects can precede their causes? Could future events somehow influence past events through quantum mechanical processes that we're only beginning to understand? Some physicists have proposed that consciousness itself might play a role in determining the direction of time flow. This theory suggests that the act of observation, a conscious being measuring or interacting with a quantum system, might be what collapses the wave function and forces time to flow in a particular direction. Without conscious observation, quantum systems might exist in temporal superposition, experiencing multiple timelines simultaneously. These ideas have led to fascinating theoretical frameworks about the nature of reality. Some researchers propose that what we experience as linear time might be just one layer of a much more complex temporal structure. At deeper levels of reality, time might be multidimensional, allowing for possibilities that seem impossible from our limited perspective. The experimental evidence for time reversal in quantum systems is becoming increasingly robust. Researchers have successfully demonstrated quantum systems that can evolve backward to their original states, effectively rewinding their quantum evolution. While these experiments involve incredibly small scales and brief time periods, they provide concrete evidence that time's arrow isn't as rigid as classical physics suggested. But here's what makes this research particularly unsettling: if time reversal is possible at the quantum level, why don't we observe it in the macroscopic world? The leading explanation involves what physicists call decoherence, the process by which quantum systems interact with their environment and lose their quantum properties. In larger systems, this interaction with the environment makes time reversal practically impossible, which is why we never see broken glasses spontaneously reassembling or spilled coffee flowing back into cups. However, some researchers are exploring whether there might be special circumstances where macroscopic time reversal could occur. These scenarios would require incredibly precise control over environmental factors and might only be possible under extreme conditions that don't naturally occur on Earth. The possibility remains tantalizing, even if currently beyond our technological capabilities. The research into quantum time reversal has also opened up new perspectives on some of physics' most persistent mysteries. Could quantum temporal effects help explain the apparent fine-tuning of physical constants in our universe? Might they provide insights into the nature of consciousness and its relationship to physical reality? Some scientists are even exploring whether temporal quantum effects might offer new approaches to understanding gravity and the structure of space-time itself. Perhaps most intriguingly, these discoveries force us to reconsider our understanding of free will and determinism. If the future can influence the past through quantum processes, does that mean our choices might be influenced by future events we haven't yet experienced? The philosophical implications are staggering and challenge some of our most basic assumptions about agency and causality. What if our experience of linear time is just a limited perspective on a far more complex temporal reality? Could consciousness itself be the mechanism that creates the illusion of time's forward flow? The mystery of the modern monoliths, art or alien contact. In November 2020, a Utah Department of Public Safety helicopter crew made a discovery that would soon capture global attention and spawn countless theories about its origin. Deep in the Red Rock Desert, in one of the most remote and inaccessible areas of southeastern Utah, they spotted a gleaming metallic monolith standing alone in the wilderness. The structure was approximately 12 feet tall, perfectly smooth, and appeared to have been professionally installed with no obvious means of transportation to the site. What made this discovery particularly puzzling was the complete absence of any evidence explaining how the monolith had arrived there. There were no tire tracks, no footprints, no tool marks, and no signs of the heavy equipment that would presumably be needed to transport and install such a structure in such a remote location. The monolith seemed to have simply appeared as if materializing out of thin air. Before authorities could thoroughly investigate the Utah monolith, it disappeared just as mysteriously as it had appeared. But this wasn't the end of the story. It was just the beginning. Within weeks, similar monoliths began appearing around the world. Romania reported a metallic pillar on a hilltop near the ancient Dacian fortress of Petrodava. California discovered its own version on a mountain peak. Then came reports from the Netherlands, from Colombia, from various locations across the United States. Each monolith shared certain characteristics. They were approximately 10 to 12 feet tall, made of polished metal, usually stainless steel or aluminum, and appeared without explanation in remote or unexpected locations. Most significantly, none of the installations showed evidence of conventional transportation or construction methods. The precision of their placement and the quality of their construction suggested professional installation, yet no individual group or company claimed responsibility for any of them. The mystery deepened when investigators began analyzing the construction details. The monoliths weren't crude art installations. They were precisely engineered structures that would have required significant resources and expertise to create. The metalwork was professional grade, the proportions were mathematically precise, and the installations demonstrated careful site preparation and planning. Yet, despite extensive media coverage and public interest, no one stepped forward to claim credit for any of the installations. By 2024, the phenomenon had evolved into a global mystery. Monoliths appeared in Wales and Germany, on beaches in city centers, and in wilderness areas across multiple continents. Some lasted days before disappearing. Others remained in place for months. A few were clearly identified as copycats or art installations, but the original cases, particularly the Utah monolith and several others, maintained their mysterious origins. The synchronicity of the appearances raised intriguing questions about coordination and communication. How could multiple monoliths appear in different countries within such a short time frame if there wasn't some form of organized effort behind them? Yet, if there was coordination, why maintain such strict secrecy? The mystery seemed to involve either an incredibly well-organized global art project or something else entirely. Some researchers began noting interesting patterns in the locations and timing of monolith appearances. Several appeared at sites with historical significance or unusual geological features. Others seemed to correspond with astronomical events, or appeared at locations with strong electromagnetic properties. While these correlations might be coincidental, they added another layer of intrigue to an already puzzling phenomenon. The quality and consistency of the monoliths suggested they weren't the work of amateur pranksters. Creating structures of this precision and transporting them to remote locations would require significant financial resources, technical expertise, and logistical coordination. The fact that no one claimed responsibility, despite the enormous publicity value such a revelation would have, suggested motivations beyond typical art or publicity stunts. Theories about the monoliths ranged from elaborate art projects to extraterrestrial contact. Some suggested they were part of a viral marketing campaign that had spun out of control. Others proposed they were the work of a secret society or organization with access to significant resources. Still others speculated about more exotic explanations involving time travel, interdimensional visitors, or advanced technology. Government agencies investigated several of the monolith sites, but found no evidence of their origins. Security camera footage from nearby areas showed no suspicious activity during the time periods when the monoliths would have been installed. Forensic analysis of the structures themselves revealed only that they were made with commercially available materials and professional construction techniques. The monolith phenomenon highlighted our assumptions about how information spreads in the modern world. In an age of social media and global communication, how could a coordinated effort of this scale maintain complete secrecy? The mystery demonstrated that even in our hyper-connected world, it's still possible for well-organized groups to operate without detection. Perhaps most unsettling was the precision timing of the phenomenon. The first monolith appeared during a period of global uncertainty and social isolation, when people were particularly receptive to mystery and wonder. The subsequent appearances maintained public interest at exactly the right intervals to keep the story alive without overwhelming it. This timing suggested either remarkable luck or careful psychological manipulation. Who or what has the resources, motivation, and coordination to place precisely crafted monoliths around the world while maintaining complete anonymity? What message, if any, are they trying to convey, mysterious circles on grasslands? When nature creates perfect geometry. Since the 17th century, farmers and landowners across England have reported a phenomenon that continues to baffle scientists: the spontaneous appearance of large, perfectly circular patterns in grasslands and crop fields. These formations, ranging from simple circles to complex geometric designs, appear overnight with a precision that seems to defy natural explanation. While many cases have been attributed to human activity, a significant number remain unexplained despite centuries of investigation. The unexplained crop circles share several characteristic features that distinguish them from known hoaxes. The affected plants are bent at their base nodes rather than broken, suggesting they were subjected to heat or some form of energy that softened the plant fibers without destroying them. The bending occurs at precise angles and affects entire sections of crops, uniformly creating patterns that would be extremely difficult to replicate manually without leaving evidence of human presence. Laboratory analysis of plants from genuine circle formations has revealed cellular changes that don't occur in normal plant growth or in confirmed hoaxes. The plant nodes show elongation and expulsion holes that typically result from rapid heating, as if the plants were subjected to microwave-like energy. These changes occur throughout the affected areas, including plants that would be impossible to reach without damaging surrounding crops. Soil samples from within the circles often show unusual characteristics. Magnetic particles in the soil appear altered, as if subjected to strong electromagnetic fields. The soil's molecular structure sometimes shows signs of crystallization that occurs under intense heat. Yet there's no evidence of burning or other obvious heat sources. Some formations also show elevated levels of background radiation that persist for weeks after the circles appear. Perhaps most intriguingly, electronic equipment often malfunctions near fresh crop circle formations. Cameras experience battery-drained compasses, spin wildly, and mobile phones lose signal strength. These electromagnetic anomalies suggest that whatever creates the circles might involve energy fields that interact with electronic devices. The effects are strongest immediately after formation and gradually diminish over time. The geometric complexity of unexplained formations has increased dramatically over the decades. Early circles were simple rings, but modern formations feature intricate patterns involving multiple interlocking circles, precise mathematical ratios, and designs that incorporate advanced geometric principles. Some formations appear to represent complex mathematical concepts, astronomical alignments, or fractal patterns that would require sophisticated knowledge to design. Computer analysis of the most complex formations has revealed mathematical relationships that go beyond what would be expected from random or simple design processes. The proportions often correspond to fundamental mathematical constants. The designs frequently incorporate principles from advanced geometry, and the layouts sometimes align with astronomical phenomena occurring at the time of their creation. Research into the formation process has yielded frustrating results. Despite numerous attempts to observe circle creation in progress, no one has captured definitive evidence of how the unexplained formations actually appear. Surveillance efforts have recorded unusual light phenomena and electromagnetic disturbances in areas where circles later appear, but the actual formation process remains unobserved. Some researchers have proposed that the circles result from atmospheric plasma phenomena, essentially ball lightning or similar electromagnetic events that create organized energy fields capable of affecting large areas of crops in geometric patterns. This theory could explain both the plant changes and the electromagnetic effects, though it doesn't account for the increasing complexity of the designs or their mathematical precision. The plasma theory gains some support from military research into electromagnetic weapons and atmospheric phenomena. Classified experiments have demonstrated that directed electromagnetic energy can create organized patterns in vegetation and affect electronic equipment over significant distances. However, these military applications require sophisticated equipment and precise control that doesn't match the random timing and locations of crop circle appearances. Other researchers have explored the possibility that the formations result from previously unknown geological or atmospheric processes. Underground water flows, magnetic field variations, or atmospheric pressure changes might create conditions that could affect plant growth in organized patterns. While these theories offer natural explanations, they struggle to account for the geometric precision and increasing complexity of the formation. The crop circle phenomenon has also attracted attention from consciousness researchers who suggest that the formations might result from psychokinetic effects, the influence of human consciousness on physical matter. This theory proposes that groups of people focusing intensely on geometric patterns might somehow create energy fields capable of affecting vegetation. While this explanation lacks scientific support, it offers one possible account for the mathematical complexity and symbolic content of many formations. Recent advances in satellite imagery and aerial surveillance have provided new perspectives on crop circle formation. Time-lapse photography from space has captured the appearance of new formations, but the resolution isn't sufficient to reveal the actual formation process. These images do confirm that many formations appear within very short time windows, sometimes within minutes rather than hours. The persistence of unexplained crop circles, despite intensive investigation, suggests that we're dealing with a phenomenon that operates outside our current understanding of natural processes. Whether the explanation involves unknown atmospheric physics, previously unrecognized geological effects, or something else entirely, these formations continue to challenge our assumptions about what's possible in the natural world. What natural or artificial process could create geometric patterns of such precision and complexity in vegetation, while leaving electromagnetic signatures and cellular changes that we can measure but not explain? The mysteries of quantum time. Reversal, modern monoliths, and crop circles represent challenges to our understanding of physical reality from three different perspectives. Quantum physics suggests that time itself might not work, as we assume the monolith phenomenon demonstrates that coordinated activities can still occur in complete secrecy. Despite global connectivity, and crop circles show that geometric precision can appear in nature through processes we don't understand. These phenomena share a common theme. They all involve the emergence of order and precision through means that our current scientific frameworks cannot adequately explain. They suggest that reality might be far more malleable and mysterious than our everyday experience indicates, operating according to principles that we're only beginning to glimpse. Most importantly, these mysteries demonstrate that even in our age of advanced technology and global communication, fundamental aspects of reality remain unknown. They remind us that the frontier of human knowledge isn't just in distant galaxies or deep ocean trenches. It's right here in our everyday world, waiting for us to develop the tools and understanding necessary to decode it. Biological and genetic enigmas, tales of monsters on glacial rivers. When the impossible swims. In the frozen waterways of Alaska, Canada, and the remote mountain lakes of northern Japan, indigenous communities and modern researchers alike have documented encounters with creatures that shouldn't exist according to our understanding of Arctic biology. These aren't folklore tales passed down through generations. They're contemporary reports backed by video evidence, eyewitness accounts from experienced naturalists, and physical traces that have left marine biologists scratching their heads. The most compelling case emerged from Alaska's Chena River in 2016, when wildlife researchers captured footage of an unusually long object moving through the water with an undulating motion that didn't match any known Arctic species. The creature, if that's what it was, appeared to be covered in patches of ice, making it difficult to distinguish between living tissue and frozen water. The footage showed the object moving against the current with a serpentine motion that suggested muscular propulsion rather than passive drifting. Marine biologists who analyzed the video noted several disturbing details. The object's movement pattern didn't match that of any known fish species in the region. Its size, estimated at over 30 feet in length, far exceeded that of any documented Arctic marine life. Most puzzling was its apparent ability to navigate in water that was barely above freezing conditions that would be lethal to most large marine animals, not specifically adapted to Arctic survival. Similar sightings have been reported throughout the Pacific Northwest, where fishermen and Coast Guard personnel describe encounters with what they call Cadborosaurus, or caddy, a serpentine creature with dorsal fins and an elongated body that appears in the cold northern seas. While many sightings have been attributed to known marine animals like seals or decomposing whale carcasses, a significant number resist easy explanation. What makes these reports particularly intriguing is the consistency of certain details across multiple independent witnesses. Observers consistently describe creatures with elongated bodies, undulating movement patterns, and the ability to travel at speeds that exceed those of known Arctic marine life. The creatures often appear to have some form of natural insulation or adaptation to extreme cold, sometimes described as thick hide or fur-like covering. In northern Japan, the phenomenon takes on a different character, with reports of the ningyo, massive, pale creatures moving slowly beneath the water near ice edges. These sightings come not just from local fishermen, but from research vessels and even satellite imagery that has captured large, pale objects moving in patterns that don't match known whale migration routes or behaviors. The biological challenges of surviving in Arctic waters are enormous. Any large marine creature would need specialized adaptations, including antifreeze proteins in their blood-modified circulatory systems to prevent heat loss and metabolic adjustments to function in near-freezing temperatures. The fact that witnesses describe creatures that appear well adapted to these conditions suggests either the survival of unknown species or evolutionary adaptations that we haven't documented. Some marine biologists have proposed that these sightings might represent encounters with surviving populations of prehistoric marine reptiles that adapted to cold water environments during the ice ages. The fossil record shows that large marine reptiles once inhabited these regions when global temperatures were different. Could isolated populations have survived in deep cold waters, where they rarely encounter human observers? The alternative explanation, that these creatures represent unknown species that evolved in isolation, raises equally fascinating questions. The deep, cold waters of the Arctic Ocean remain largely unexplored, and new species are discovered regularly in these environments. However, the size and apparent intelligence described in many sightings would represent a significant gap in our understanding of Arctic marine ecosystems. Recent advances in underwater surveillance technology have begun to provide new data about Arctic marine life. Hydrophones deployed to monitor marine mammal populations have recorded unusual acoustic signatures that don't match any known species. These sounds often occur in the same areas where visual sightings have been reported, suggesting that something is producing vocalizations that we can't identify. Environmental DNA sampling, a technique that identifies species by analyzing genetic material in water samples, has detected unknown genetic sequences in several Arctic locations where creature sightings have occurred. While these DNA traces don't prove the existence of unknown large marine animals, they do indicate that Arctic marine ecosystems contain more biological diversity than we've catalogued. The psychological and cultural dimensions of these sightings also deserve consideration. Indigenous communities throughout the Arctic have oral traditions describing large water creatures that go back thousands of years. These stories often include detailed behavioral descriptions and seasonal movement patterns that show remarkable consistency across cultures that had no contact with each other. Climate change has added a new dimension to the mystery. As Arctic ice melts and water temperatures rise, marine ecosystems are undergoing rapid changes. Some researchers speculate that creatures adapted to very specific Arctic conditions might be forced into new behaviors or habitats, leading to increased human encounters with previously hidden species. The question of food sources presents another puzzle. Any large marine creature would require substantial nutrition to maintain its size in the challenging Arctic environment. What could these creatures be eating, and why haven't we detected the ecological impact of such large predators on Arctic marine food webs? Modern surveillance technology offers new possibilities for resolving these mysteries. Underwater drones, satellite monitoring, and genetic analysis provide tools that previous generations of researchers lacked. However, the vast size and harsh conditions of Arctic marine environments mean that comprehensive surveillance remains technically challenging and extremely expensive. Perhaps most intriguingly, these reports force us to consider how much we still don't know about life in Earth's most extreme environments. The deep Arctic Ocean remains less explored than the surface of Mars, and new species discoveries in cold water environments continue to surprise marine biologists with their size adaptations and behaviors. Could the Arctic Ocean harbor populations of large marine animals that have escaped scientific detection? What adaptations would allow creatures of this size to survive in conditions that challenge even specially adapted Arctic wildlife? Mysterious ancestors in human DNA, the ghosts in our genome. In 2010, the completion of the Neanderthal Genome Project revealed something that fundamentally changed our understanding of human evolution. Modern humans carry genetic sequences from ancient human populations that we've never identified through fossil evidence. These ghost populations left their mark in our DNA but vanished from the archaeological record, creating one of the most profound mysteries in human genetics. The story began when researchers compared modern human genomes with those of Neanderthals and Denisovans, two extinct human species known from fossil remains. They expected to find clear patterns of interbreeding between these groups and modern humans, and they did. But they also found something unexpected: genetic sequences that didn't match any known ancient human population. The most puzzling discovery came from analyzing African populations which carry genetic variants that appear to originate from an unknown human lineage. Unlike the Neanderthal and Denisovan DNA found in non-African populations, these mysterious genetic sequences are found almost exclusively in people whose ancestors remained in Africa. Computer modeling suggests these sequences come from an ancient human population that diverged from other human lineages nearly 1 million years ago. What makes this discovery particularly significant is the timing. The genetic evidence suggests that this unknown population was interbreeding with the ancestors of modern humans relatively recently, within the last 50,000 years. This means that as late as the time when humans were developing complex tools, language and art, there were other human-like beings sharing the African continent with our direct ancestors. The genetic signatures of these ghost populations aren't subtle. They represent substantial contributions to modern human genomes. Some African populations carry genetic variants that are estimated to make up 219% of their total genome, suggesting extensive interbreeding rather than occasional contact. This level of genetic mixing implies that these unknown populations weren't rare or isolated. They were significant groups that lived alongside our ancestors for extended periods. Advanced genetic analysis has revealed that these mystery populations weren't simply early versions of known human species. Their genetic signatures are distinct enough to represent separate evolutionary lineages, possibly including species like Homo erectus that we thought had gone extinct much earlier, or entirely unknown human species that never fossilized in conditions that allowed preservation. The implications for human evolution are staggering. Instead of the relatively simple family tree that we've constructed based on fossil evidence, human evolution appears to have involved a complex web of interbreeding between multiple human species over extended periods. Our genome carries the genetic legacy of populations that existed for hundreds of thousands of years, but left no trace in the fossil record. Some of the most intriguing genetic variants from these ghost populations appear to have provided adaptive advantages to modern humans. Genes related to immune system function, altitude adaptation, and disease resistance show strong signs of having been inherited from these unknown populations. This suggests that interbreeding with other human species wasn't just incidental contact. It provided genetic benefits that helped our ancestors survive in challenging environments. The mystery deepens when researchers examine specific genetic variants that appear to be far older than they should be. Some immune system genes in modern humans show evolutionary histories that stretch back millions of years far longer than our species has existed. These archaic genetic variants could only have been inherited from much older human populations that maintained these genes through extended evolutionary periods. Recent discoveries have extended the mystery beyond Africa. Genetic analysis of Asian and oceanic populations has revealed additional unknown ancestry, suggesting that ghost populations existed on multiple continents. Some of these genetic signatures appear to represent human populations that lived in isolation for hundreds of thousands of years before contact with modern human ancestors. The technology that revealed these ghost populations continues to evolve, providing increasingly detailed pictures of ancient interbreeding events. Researchers can now identify not just the existence of unknown populations, but estimate when interbreeding occurred, how extensive it was, and which modern populations carry the highest percentages of mystery ancestry. What's particularly puzzling is the complete absence of fossil evidence for many of these populations. Genetic analysis suggests they were substantial groups that existed for extended periods and had significant contact with our ancestors. Yet they've left no trace in the archaeological record. No bones, no tools, no artifacts that would indicate their existence. This absence raises profound questions about the completeness of the fossil record and our understanding of human evolution. How many human populations might have existed without leaving fossil evidence? What environmental or cultural factors might prevent populations from appearing in the archaeological record despite their genetic legacy persisting? The discovery of ghost populations has also forced researchers to reconsider the definition of human. If our ancestors were interbreeding with multiple human-like species well into the recent past, what distinguishes modern humans from these other populations? The genetic evidence suggests that the boundaries between human species were far more fluid than our taxonomic categories indicate. Some researchers have begun investigating whether these ghost populations might have contributed not just genetic material, but knowledge and capabilities to modern human development. Could interbreeding with unknown human species have introduced cognitive abilities, technological innovations, or survival strategies that played a role in our ancestors' success? The search for ghost populations has become one of the most active areas of human genetics research. As genetic sequencing technology improves and more diverse human populations are studied, researchers expect to uncover additional unknown ancestry. Each new discovery provides pieces of a puzzle that reveals human evolution as far more complex and interconnected than we ever imagined. Perhaps most remarkably, these genetic ghosts demonstrate that we carry within our own DNA the evidence of human diversity that far exceeds what we've discovered through traditional archaeology. Our genome is an archive of human populations that existed for hundreds of thousands of years, but remained hidden until we developed the technology to read their genetic signatures. Who were these ghost populations that shaped our genetic heritage but left no other trace of their existence? What knowledge or capabilities might they have possessed that contributed to human development? Could humans evolve to become venomous? The poison within. Hidden within the human genome lies a startling capability that challenges our understanding of human evolutionary potential, the genetic foundation for producing venom. Research conducted at the Okinawa Institute of Science and Technology has revealed that humans, along with all other mammals, possessed the basic genetic toolkit necessary for venom production. We simply haven't activated it through evolutionary pressure. The discovery emerged from comparative studies of snake venom genes and mammalian genomes. Researchers found that the genes responsible for venom protein production in snakes have recognizable counterparts in human DNA concentrated primarily in our salivary glands. While these genes currently produce harmless proteins involved in digestion and oral health, they represent the evolutionary foundation that could theoretically be modified to produce toxic compounds. In venomous snakes, these same genetic pathways evolved over millions of years to create sophisticated delivery systems for paralyzing or killing prey. The snake's salivary glands became specialized venom glands through gradual genetic modifications that increased the toxicity and effectiveness of their secretions. The evolutionary process involved both the development of new toxic proteins and the enhancement of delivery mechanisms that could inject venom efficiently into targets. What makes the human potential for venom evolution particularly intriguing is the complexity of the proteins already present in human saliva. Our saliva contains enzymes involved in breaking down food proteins that help prevent infection and compounds that aid in wound healing. Some of these proteins share structural similarities with the precursor molecules that evolved into snake venoms, suggesting that the biochemical foundation for toxicity already exists. The research has identified specific genes in humans that, if subjected to the right evolutionary pressures, could potentially develop into venom-producing systems. These genes control the production of proteins that interact with cell membranes, regulate blood clotting, and affect nerve function, all of which are targets of various animal venoms. Under intense survival pressure, mutations that increase the potency of these proteins could provide significant advantages. However, the evolution of human venom production would require extraordinary circumstances. The development of venom systems typically occurs in response to specific ecological pressures such as the need to subdue large prey or defend against predators. For humans to evolve venomous capabilities, we would need to encounter survival situations where the ability to produce toxins provided a significant reproductive advantage over many generations. Computer modeling of potential human venom evolution suggests that the process could follow several different pathways. The most likely scenario would involve the gradual modification of existing salivary proteins to increase their toxicity. This could result in bite-delivered venoms similar to those found in some mammals like shrews and platypuses. Alternatively, humans might develop skin-secreted toxins for defensive purposes, similar to those found in some amphibians. The timeline for such evolution would be substantial. based on the evolutionary history of venom development in other species. Human venom evolution would likely require thousands to tens of thousands of years of consistent selective pressure. The changes would need to occur gradually, with each generation developing slightly more potent secretions until a functional venom system emerged. Interestingly, some human populations already show genetic variations that hint at defensive chemical capabilities. Certain ethnic groups have higher concentrations of antimicrobial compounds in their saliva, and some individuals produce unusual proteins that can cause allergic reactions in others through close contact. While these aren't venoms in the traditional sense, they demonstrate that human biochemistry can already produce substances that affect other organisms. The research has also revealed that stress and environmental factors can influence the expression of genes related to toxin production. Under extreme conditions, humans might already be capable of producing slightly elevated levels of bioactive compounds. This suggests that the genetic machinery for enhanced chemical defense might be more accessible than previously thought. From an evolutionary perspective, the retention of venom-producing genetic pathways in mammals suggests that these capabilities might provide advantages that we don't currently recognize. The fact that these genes haven't been eliminated through evolution implies that they might serve important functions or retain the potential for future activation under appropriate circumstances. The study of human venom potential has broader implications for understanding mammalian evolution and adaptation. If humans retain the genetic foundation for venom production, what other dormant capabilities might exist within our genome? Could humans theoretically evolve other animal-like abilities, such as enhanced night vision, echolocation, or magnetic sensing under appropriate selective pressures? The research also raises questions about the role of technology in human evolution. As humans increasingly rely on tools and technology for survival, the likelihood of evolving biological defense mechanisms like venom decreases. However, in scenarios involving long-term isolation or extreme environmental challenges, dormant genetic capabilities might become relevant again. Some researchers have speculated about the potential applications of understanding human venom genetics for medical research. If we can understand how venom-producing genes function, we might be able to engineer beneficial applications such as enhanced antimicrobial secretions or targeted therapeutic compounds produced naturally by the human body. The discovery that humans possess the genetic foundation for venom production represents a fundamental shift in how we think about human evolutionary potential. Rather than being fixed in our current biological form, humans appear to retain the genetic flexibility to develop new capabilities under appropriate evolutionary pressures. Perhaps most remarkably, this research suggests that evolution is far from finished with the human species. Hidden within our genome are possibilities that could be activated by future environmental challenges, genetic engineering, or evolutionary pressures that we can't currently imagine. What other hidden capabilities might be dormant within the human genome, waiting for the right circumstances to emerge? These biological mysteries reveal that life on Earth operates according to principles far more complex and flexible than our textbooks suggest. Arctic creature sightings challenge our understanding of what's possible in extreme environments. Ghost DNA populations rewrite the story of human evolution, and dormant venom genes demonstrate that evolutionary potential far exceeds current expression. The common thread connecting these mysteries is the theme of hidden complexity. Whether we're looking at unknown species in Arctic waters, undiscovered human ancestors in our genetic code, or unexpressed capabilities in our genome, we're confronting evidence that biological reality contains layers of mystery that we're only beginning to detect. These discoveries force us to reconsider our assumptions about biological limits, evolutionary timelines, and the completeness of our knowledge about life on Earth. They suggest that both our planet's ecosystems and our own biological heritage contain secrets that could fundamentally alter our understanding of what life can achieve and how evolution actually works. Most significantly, these biological enigmas remind us that life finds ways to exist, adapt, and evolve that consistently exceed our expectations and challenge our theoretical frameworks. Lost civilizations and legends. The Kingdom of Rheged and King Arthur. When legend meets archaeology. For centuries, the stories of King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table were dismissed by serious historians as medieval fantasy, beautiful literature that had no basis in historical reality. But recent archaeological discoveries at Trustees Hill in Galloway, Scotland, have forced scholars to reconsider whether some Arthurian legends might be rooted in actual events and real kingdoms that have been lost to time. The Kingdom of Rheged was mentioned in ancient Welsh poetry and medieval texts as a powerful post-Roman British kingdom that controlled large territories in what is now southern Scotland and northern England. Historical sources described it as a realm of warrior kings, including figures like Urien of Rheged, who was said to be connected to the Arthurian cycle. But without physical evidence, Rheged remained in the realm of legend, until archaeologists began uncovering proof of its existence. Excavations at Trustees Hill have revealed the remains of a major fortified settlement that matches historical descriptions of Rheged's royal centers. The site contains evidence of substantial stone fortifications, defensive earthworks, and high-status buildings that date to the exact period when historical sources place the Kingdom of Rheged. Radiocarbon dating confirms occupation during the 5th and 6th centuries AD, precisely when Arthur was supposed to have lived. What makes these discoveries particularly compelling is the quality and sophistication of the artifacts found at the site. The archaeological team has uncovered evidence of advanced metalworking, long-distance trade connections, and artistic production that indicates Trustees Hill wasn't just a minor settlement, but a genuine center of political and economic power. The material culture matches what we would expect from a kingdom wealthy enough to support the kind of warrior aristocracy described in Arthurian literature. Perhaps most intriguingly, the archaeological evidence shows connections between Trustees Hill and other sites mentioned in Arthurian texts. Trade goods and artistic styles found at the site link it to locations across Britain that feature in various Arthurian stories. This suggests that rather than being isolated, folklore, the Arthurian legends might preserve memories of actual political and cultural networks that existed in post-Roman Britain. The discovery has implications that extend far beyond confirming the existence of one medieval kingdom. If Rheged was real, what other kingdoms and figures from Arthurian literature might have historical foundations? The archaeological evidence suggests that post-Roman Britain was far more politically complex and culturally sophisticated than previously believed, with multiple kingdoms maintaining extensive trade networks and military alliances. Analysis of the Trustees Hill site has also revealed evidence of continuity between Roman and post-Roman periods that challenges traditional narratives about the Dark Ages. Rather than experiencing complete civilizational collapse after Roman withdrawal, the archaeological evidence shows that local British kingdoms maintained many Roman technological and administrative practices while developing their own distinctive cultural identities. The connection to Arthurian legend becomes even more intriguing when researchers consider the broader archaeological picture. Multiple sites across Britain that feature in Arthurian stories are yielding evidence of significant activity during the 5th and 6th centuries. Tintagel in Cornwall, long associated with Arthur's birth, shows evidence of being a major trading centre with connections across the Mediterranean. Cadbury Castle in Somerset, identified by some as Camelot, reveals massive fortification efforts during exactly the period when Arthur was supposed to have lived. These discoveries suggest that the Arthurian legends might preserve genuine historical memories about a period of British history that was far more eventful and politically significant than traditional histories have acknowledged. The stories might represent folk memories of real conflicts, real kingdoms, and real leaders who became mythologized over time but whose actual achievements were substantial enough to inspire centuries of storytelling. The genetic and linguistic evidence supports this interpretation. DNA analysis of populations in areas associated with Arthurian legends shows patterns of continuity from Roman through medieval periods that suggest stable populations maintained cultural traditions across political transitions. Linguistic analysis of early Welsh and Cornish texts reveals consistent geographic and political references that appear to preserve accurate information about post-Roman British kingdoms. Modern techniques are revealing new layers of evidence that support the historical foundations of Arthurian legend. Ground-penetrating radar and aerial archaeology have identified previously unknown fortifications and settlements in areas where Arthur was supposed to have been active. These discoveries consistently show evidence of major military and political activity during the 5th and 6th centuries, exactly when the historical Arthur would have lived. The implications extend beyond British history to our understanding of how historical memory works. If the Arthurian legends preserve genuine historical information about real kingdoms and real conflicts, what other medieval literature might contain similar historical cores? How much of what we've dismissed as fantasy might actually be mythologized history? The archaeological evidence also raises questions about the relationship between history and legend. The real kingdom of Eerie appears to have been impressive enough to inspire centuries of storytelling. But how did historical reality transform into the magical realm of Arthurian romance? What aspects of the stories might be historical, and which elements were added by later storytellers? Recent discoveries have even provided potential explanations for some of the more fantastical elements of Arthurian legend. Advanced metalworking techniques found at archaeological sites could explain stories about magical swords. Evidence of long-distance trade and diplomatic contacts could account for the international scope of Arthurian adventures. The real political and military achievements of post-Roman British kingdoms might have been impressive enough to seem magical to later generations. The research into Reged and its connections to Arthurian legend represents a broader shift in how historians approach medieval sources. Rather than dismissing legendary material as worthless for historical reconstruction, scholars are increasingly recognizing that oral traditions and literary sources might preserve historical information that doesn't appear in contemporary written records. This approach has implications for understanding other historical periods and cultures. If British medieval legends contain historical cores, what about the epic traditions of other cultures? How much genuine historical information might be preserved in stories that we've traditionally classified as mythology or folklore? The Kingdom of Rigged demonstrates that the line between history and legend is far more complex than we've assumed. Real kingdoms can become legendary. Real conflicts can be mythologized, and real achievements can be transformed into magical stories while still preserving essential historical information. What other legendary kingdoms and heroes might have genuine historical foundations waiting to be discovered through archaeological investigation? The Metal Library in the Taos Cave. Books of an unknown civilization. Deep in the Amazon rainforest of Ecuador lies one of the most controversial archaeological claims of the 20th century, the alleged discovery of a vast underground library containing thousands of metal books inscribed with an unknown writing system. The story of the Taos Cave Metal Library has divided researchers for decades, with some dismissing it as an elaborate hoax, while others argue it represents evidence of a sophisticated prehistoric civilization that challenges our understanding of ancient American history. The saga began in the 1960s when Hungarian-Argentine explorer János Juan Moric claimed to have discovered an extensive cave system containing what he described as a metallic library. Thousands of thin metal sheets covered with inscriptions in an unknown script. According to Moric, these metal books were stored on stone shelves in carefully organized chambers deep underground, accompanied by various artifacts, including metal figurines, tools, and structures that suggested religious or ceremonial significance. Moric's descriptions of the library were remarkably detailed. He claimed the metal sheets were made of various alloys and contained text in multiple unknown writing systems. Some sheets allegedly featured maps showing geographic features and settlements that didn't correspond to any known ancient American civilizations. Others supposedly contained astronomical information and mathematical calculations that demonstrated advanced scientific knowledge. The controversy deepened when Moric was joined by Swiss author Erich von Däniken, who incorporated the Taos Cave discovery into his theories about ancient astronaut visitation. Von Däniken's best-selling books brought international attention to the cave, but also associated it with speculative theories that mainstream archaeologists rejected. This connection has made it difficult for serious researchers to investigate the claims objectively. What makes the Taos Cave mystery particularly frustrating for researchers is the lack of verifiable physical evidence. Despite decades of claims about the metal library, no metal books have been subjected to independent scientific analysis. Photographs allegedly showing the library are of poor quality and could depict any number of objects in cave environments. Without access to actual artifacts, the scientific community has been unable to verify or debunk the claims definitively. However, the Taos Cave system itself is undeniably real and archaeologically significant. Official expeditions have confirmed that the caves contain evidence of ancient human occupation, including pottery fragments, stone tools, and other artifacts that demonstrate the site was important to prehistoric peoples. Carbon dating of organic materials found in the caves indicates human use spanning thousands of years. The cave system's geology also supports the possibility that it could contain preserved organic and metal artifacts. The environment provides natural protection from moisture, temperature fluctuations, and other factors that typically destroy archaeological materials. If ancient peoples did use the caves for storage or ritual purposes, artifacts could theoretically survive in excellent condition. Some researchers have noted that the concept of metal books isn't entirely unprecedented in pre-Columbian America. The Maya and other Mesoamerican civilizations did create books using various materials, and there are isolated examples of metal artifacts with inscribed text from prehistoric American cultures. While these don't approach the scale of the alleged Taos library, they demonstrate that the technological and cultural foundation for such creations existed in ancient America. The geographic location of the Taos cave adds another dimension to the mystery. The site lies in a region that served as a crossroads between different ancient American civilizations. Trade routes connected the Amazon basin with the Andes and the Pacific coast, creating opportunities for cultural exchange and technological diffusion. If an advanced civilization did create a metal library, this location would be ideal for preserving knowledge from multiple cultures. Recent advances in non-invasive archaeological techniques offer new possibilities for investigating the Taos cave claims. Ground-penetrating radar 3D cave mapping and other technologies could potentially locate buried or hidden chambers without disturbing the cave environment. These methods could verify whether additional chambers exist beyond those already explored by researchers. The controversy surrounding the Taos cave has also highlighted broader questions about how archaeological claims are evaluated and verified. The association with fringe theories has made mainstream archaeologists reluctant to investigate the site seriously, potentially creating a self-fulfilling prophecy, where legitimate discoveries are dismissed because of their connection to speculative ideas. Some researchers argue that the Taos cave claims, regardless of their ultimate validity, point to genuine gaps in our understanding of prehistoric American civilizations. The Amazon basin remains archaeologically underexplored, and new discoveries regularly reveal that ancient American societies were more sophisticated and widespread than previously believed. The possibility that advanced civilizations existed in regions we haven't thoroughly investigated remains scientifically valid. The mystery has also drawn attention to the broader issue of how indigenous knowledge and oral traditions relate to archaeological research. Local indigenous groups in the Taos Cave region have their own stories and traditions about the caves, some of which include references to ancient books or records stored underground. These traditions might preserve genuine historical information about the site's significance to prehistoric peoples. Modern technology could potentially resolve the Taos cave mystery definitively. Detailed cave surveys using advanced mapping techniques could locate any hidden chambers or artifacts. Chemical analysis of cave environments could determine whether metal artifacts could indeed survive in the conditions present in the cave system. Even if the metal library doesn't exist as described, such research could yield valuable insights into the site's actual archaeological significance. The Taos cave story demonstrates the challenges facing archaeology, when extraordinary claims intersect with speculative theories. While the scientific method requires skepticism about unverified claims, it also demands open-minded investigation of potentially significant discoveries. The balance between these requirements becomes particularly difficult when claims involve sites or artifacts that could revolutionize our understanding of human history. Whether the metal library exists or not, the Taos Cave represents broader questions about lost knowledge and hidden history. If ancient civilizations did possess sophisticated writing systems and extensive libraries, how many might have been lost to time, climate, or deliberate destruction? How much of human intellectual achievement might be missing from our historical record? What would it mean for our understanding of ancient American civilizations if sophisticated libraries and writing systems existed thousands of years before European contact, the hypothesis of Atlantis under Antarctica? A frozen civilization. In the early 20th century, geologist Charles Hapgood proposed one of the most audacious theories in modern Earth sciences, that the Earth's outer crust could shift dramatically and rapidly, causing entire continents to move to new latitudes within a relatively short geological time frame. This theory of Earth crust displacement would normally be dismissed as geological fantasy, except for one intriguing piece of evidence that continues to puzzle researchers: the Piri Reis map of 1513, which appears to show the Antarctic coastline as it would look without ice cover. The Piri Reis map was created by Ottoman Admiral Piri Reis, who compiled it from numerous older sources that he claimed dated back to antiquity. The map shows remarkable geographical accuracy for its time, depicting the South American coastline with precision that wasn't achieved by other cartographers until centuries later. But the most controversial feature is a landmass at the bottom of the map that some researchers believe represents Antarctica, complete with coastal details that match the actual Antarctic continent beneath its ice sheet. The problem with this interpretation is that Antarctica was officially discovered in 1820, more than 300 years after the Piri Reis map was created. Moreover, the ice sheet that covers Antarctica is thousands of years old, making it impossible for 16th century cartographers to have known what the continent looked like underneath. Yet the coastal features shown on the Piri Reis map correspond remarkably well with the Antarctic topography revealed by modern seismic surveys of the bedrock beneath the ice. Hapgood's theory provided a potential explanation for this geographical impossibility. He proposed that Antarctica wasn't always located at the South Pole, but had been shifted there by a movement of the Earth's crust that occurred around 12,000 years ago. In this scenario, Antarctica would previously have been located at a lower latitude with a temperate climate that could have supported human civilization. The continent would only have acquired its current ice cover after the crustal shift moved it to its present polar position. This theory gains some support from geological evidence of climate change in Antarctica. Ice core samples and geological surveys have confirmed that Antarctica was once much warmer, supporting forests and diverse wildlife during various periods in Earth's history. While these warm periods are typically dated to millions of years ago, Hapgood argued that more recent warm periods might have occurred due to the continent's different geographic position. The implications of Hapgood's theory for human history are staggering. If Antarctica was ice-free and habitable 12,000 years ago, it could have supported the advanced civilization described in Plato's Atlantis dialogues. Such a civilization would have had access to abundant natural resources, isolation that could have allowed for independent technological development, and geographic advantages that could have supported sophisticated culture and learning. The timing of Hapgood's proposed crustal shift corresponds intriguingly with other mysterious events in human history. Around 12,000 years ago, many large animal species went extinct. Advanced hunter-gatherer cultures appeared suddenly in various parts of the world, and sea levels rose dramatically due to melting ice. These events could all be explained by a major geological catastrophe such as rapid crustal displacement. Modern geological science has generally rejected Hapgood's crustal displacement theory, arguing that the forces required to move entire continents would be far greater than any known geological mechanisms. The theory of plate tectonics provides a more gradual explanation for continental movement that doesn't require the rapid catastrophic changes Hapgood proposed. However, some researchers continue to investigate whether more limited crustal movements might be possible under certain circumstances. Recent discoveries in Antarctica have added new dimensions to the mystery. Satellite imagery and ice-penetrating radar have revealed massive structures beneath the Antarctic ice sheet, including mountain ranges, valleys, and what appear to be geometric formations that some researchers interpret as potentially artificial. While mainstream science attributes these features to natural geological processes, they continue to fuel speculation about the possibility of buried civilizations. The search for evidence of ancient human activity in Antarctica faces enormous practical challenges. The continent is covered by ice sheets up to several miles thick, making archaeological exploration extremely difficult and expensive. Even if evidence of ancient civilization exists, it would be buried under conditions that make discovery unlikely without massive technological investment. Climate change is beginning to reveal new insights into Antarctica's history. As ice shelves collapse and glaciers retreat, previously hidden geological features are becoming visible. These discoveries consistently show that Antarctica's climate and geography have changed dramatically over geological time, supporting the general idea that the continent was once very different from its current state. Some researchers have proposed that evidence of ancient Antarctic civilizations might be found not on the continent itself, but in the geological and cultural records of other regions. If advanced civilization did exist in Antarctica before a catastrophic climate change, survivors might have migrated to other continents, carrying with them knowledge and technologies that influenced other ancient cultures. The connection between Antarctica and Atlantis remains speculative, but it illustrates how geological theories can intersect with archaeological mysteries in unexpected ways. Whether or not Hapgood's specific theory is correct, the possibility that major geological changes could have buried or destroyed evidence of ancient civilizations raises important questions about how much human history might be missing from our current understanding. Modern technology offers new possibilities for investigating Antarctica's hidden history. Advanced ice-penetrating radar satellite analysis and eventually robotic exploration beneath the ice sheet could reveal whether any artificial structures exist beneath Antarctica's ice. These investigations might not find evidence of Atlantis, but they could provide insights into Antarctica's climate history and the possibility of ancient human presence. The Antarctic Atlantis hypothesis also highlights the limitations of our knowledge about ancient civilizations. If advanced cultures could have existed in regions that are now inaccessible due to climate change, how many other civilizations might have been lost to rising seas, advancing glaciers, or other environmental catastrophes? The debate over Antarctica and Atlantis ultimately reflects broader questions about the relationship between geological change and human history. As we develop better understanding of how dramatically Earth's climate and geography can change, we're forced to consider whether our archaeological record might be far more incomplete than we've assumed. Could the ice sheets of Antarctica conceal evidence of human civilization that would revolutionize our understanding of ancient history? The mysteries of lost civilizations and legendary kingdoms reveal a consistent pattern. Stories that were once dismissed as pure fantasy are increasingly supported by archaeological evidence that suggests genuine historical foundations. The Kingdom of Rigged provides physical proof that Arthurian legends may preserve real historical memories, the Taos Cave. Mystery highlights gaps in our knowledge of ancient American civilizations, and the Antarctic Atlantis hypothesis demonstrates how geological changes could have erased entire chapters of human history. These cases share a common theme of hidden complexity in human civilization. They suggest that our ancestors achieved levels of sophistication, organization, and knowledge that we've consistently underestimated. Whether we're looking at post-Roman British kingdoms, prehistoric American libraries, or potentially ice-buried Antarctic civilizations, we're confronting evidence that human cultural achievement extends far deeper into the past than our current historical frameworks acknowledge. Most significantly, these lost civilization mysteries force us to confront the possibility that our understanding of human development is fundamentally incomplete. If advanced civilizations could have existed and vanished without leaving obvious traces, how much of human achievement might be missing from our historical record? The question isn't just academic. It challenges our assumptions about human potential and the linear progression of civilization. Extraterrestrial and space mysteries. Discovery of strange ice and salt forms on Jupiter's moons. Chemistry from another world. In the outer reaches of our solar system, orbiting the gas giant Jupiter, lie moons that harbor some of the most mysterious substances ever discovered. These aren't just exotic materials that exist in extreme conditions. They represent chemical compositions and crystal structures that shouldn't exist according to our understanding of how matter behaves. Yet there they are, documented by multiple space missions and confirmed through spectroscopic analysis that leaves planetary scientists grappling with fundamental questions about chemistry and physics. Europa, one of Jupiter's 4 largest moons, has become the focus of intense scientific scrutiny since the Galileo spacecraft revealed its subsurface ocean beneath a thick shell of ice. But it's not just the presence of liquid water that has captured researchers' attention. It's the impossible chemistry happening within that ice. Spectroscopic data from both Galileo and the more recent James Webb Space Telescope show crystalline salt ice formations with properties that don't match any natural processes known on Earth. The ice on Europa doesn't behave like terrestrial ice. Under the extreme pressures of Jupiter's gravitational field and the moon's thick ice, shell water molecules arrange themselves into crystal structures that we've never observed in natural settings on Earth. These include Ice 2, Ice Vi, and Ice Fixixer. crystalline phases that require pressures hundreds of times greater than Earth's atmospheric pressure and temperatures far below anything our planet naturally experiences. But the ice itself is just the beginning of the mystery. Mixed within these exotic ice crystals are salts that create compound structures unlike anything in terrestrial chemistry. Magnesium sulfate, sodium chloride, and several other mineral salts don't just exist alongside the ice. They form integrated crystalline networks that incorporate metal ions, sulfur, chlorine, and complex organic molecules in ways that our current understanding of chemistry suggests shouldn't be stable. What makes these discoveries particularly puzzling is that the salt ice compounds appear to be created through ongoing chemical processes within Europa's subsurface ocean. The Hubble Space Telescope has detected plumes of water vapor erupting from Europa's surface, carrying with them chemical signatures that indicate active chemistry happening in the hidden ocean below. These plumes contain not just water and salts, but organic compounds and other materials that suggest Europa's ocean is chemically dynamic in ways we didn't expect. The implications extend beyond Europa to Jupiter's other major moons. Ganymede and Callisto show similar but distinct chemical signatures that indicate each moon has developed its own unique chemistry based on its specific conditions and evolutionary history. The differences between these chemical systems provide insights into how matter behaves under conditions that don't exist anywhere else in our solar system. Laboratory attempts to recreate these exotic salt ice compounds on Earth have yielded frustrating results. Even under controlled conditions that simulate the pressure and temperature environments of Jupiter's moons, researchers struggle to create stable versions of the crystalline structures observed by space telescopes. This suggests that the chemistry happening on Jupiter's moons involves processes or conditions that we haven't fully understood or successfully replicated. The organic chemistry detected in these systems adds another layer of complexity to the mystery. Spectroscopic analysis reveals carbon-based compounds integrated into the salt ice matrices in configurations that suggest complex chemical evolution. While these organic materials don't necessarily indicate life, they demonstrate that the chemistry on Jupiter's moons can create and maintain molecular complexity that rivals what we see in biological systems on Earth. Recent computer modeling has attempted to explain how these unique chemical systems could form and remain stable. The models suggest that Jupiter's powerful magnetic field plays a crucial role creating radiation environments that drive chemical reactions impossible under terrestrial conditions. The constant bombardment of high-energy particles from Jupiter's magnetosphere might provide the energy needed to maintain chemical processes that would quickly break down in other environments. The discovery of these exotic chemical systems has profound implications for astrobiology and our search for life in the solar system. If Jupiter's moons can support chemical complexity that we've never observed elsewhere, they might also be capable of supporting biological processes that operate according to principles we haven't yet discovered. The boundary between complex chemistry and primitive biology might be blurred in ways that our Earth-based understanding doesn't account for. The research has also forced planetary scientists to reconsider their assumptions about habitability. Traditional models of habitable environments focus on liquid water, appropriate temperatures, and familiar chemistry. But the exotic chemical systems on Jupiter's moons suggest that life might be possible under conditions so different from Earth that we wouldn't recognize them as habitable based on our current criteria. Future missions to Jupiter's moons are being designed specifically to investigate these chemical mysteries. The European Space Agency's JUICE mission and NASA's Europa Clipper will carry instruments capable of analyzing the composition of ice and plume materials in unprecedented detail. These missions might finally provide definitive answers about how these impossible chemical systems form and whether they could support biological processes. The technological challenges of studying these systems highlight how much we still don't know about chemistry under extreme conditions. The environments on Jupiter's moons represent natural laboratories for testing the limits of chemical behavior, providing insights that could revolutionize our understanding of how matter behaves throughout the universe. Perhaps most remarkably, these discoveries suggest that the universe contains chemical possibilities that we've never imagined. If exotic chemistry is happening on moons in our own solar system, what other forms of chemical complexity might exist around other stars? The implications extend far beyond planetary science to fundamental questions about the nature of chemistry and the potential for life throughout the cosmos. What forms of chemistry and potentially biology might be possible under conditions so extreme that we can't recreate them on Earth? Theories of hidden extraterrestrial technology beneath the Arctic. Signals from the ice. In the classified corridors of military intelligence and the confidential reports of Arctic research expeditions, a pattern of anomalous observations has emerged that challenges our understanding of what lies beneath the polar ice caps. These aren't UFO sightings or science fiction fantasies. They're technical reports from naval sonar operators, radar technicians, and satellite analysts describing objects and signals that don't match any known human technology or natural phenomena. The story begins with Russian naval reconnaissance missions in the Arctic Ocean during the Cold War era. Declassified reports describe sonar contacts with objects moving at speeds that exceed the capabilities of any known submarine technology. These objects allegedly moved at depths that would crush conventional submarines, change direction with impossible abruptness, and displayed flight characteristics that suggested they weren't bound by the same physical limitations as human-built vehicles. What makes these reports particularly intriguing is their technical specificity. Naval sonar operators are trained to distinguish between different types of underwater contacts. Submarines, whales, geological formations, and various forms of debris all produce distinctive acoustic signatures. The anomalous contacts described in Arctic reports allegedly produced signatures that didn't match any known categories, suggesting encounters with something genuinely unknown. Recent reports from Russian military sources describe objects detected by advanced sonar and satellite surveillance systems that appear to move through solid ice as easily as through water. These accounts describe contacts that transition seamlessly between underwater movement and apparent travel through the thick Arctic ice sheet, displaying capabilities that would require technology far beyond current human engineering. The technical details provided in these reports are what set them apart from typical UFO accounts. Military personnel describe precise measurements of object dimensions, speed calculations based on sonar tracking data, and electromagnetic signatures detected by sophisticated monitoring equipment. The objects allegedly produce minimal thermal radiation despite their high-speed movement, suggesting propulsion systems that don't generate the heat signatures associated with conventional engines. Independent confirmation of unusual Arctic phenomena comes from civilian sources as well. Commercial shipping companies operating in Arctic waters have reported radar contacts that don't behave like any known vessels or natural phenomena. Icebreaker crews describe encounters with objects beneath the ice that produce acoustic effects unlike anything in their experience with Arctic marine life or geological activity. The electromagnetic aspects of these reports are particularly puzzling. Multiple sources describe detection equipment malfunctioning in specific Arctic regions, with compass readings becoming erratic and communication systems experiencing interference that doesn't match known natural or human-caused electromagnetic phenomena. These effects allegedly occur in patterns that suggest they're associated with the presence of the unidentified object. Satellite imagery analysis has revealed additional anomalies in Arctic regions where unusual activity has been reported. Infrared and radar satellite data allegedly show thermal signatures and reflective objects in locations where no known human activity is taking place. Some of these signatures appear to move in patterns that don't match natural ice formation or movements suggesting artificial objects or activities beneath the ice. The geographic distribution of these reports shows interesting patterns. Anomalous activity is consistently reported in specific Arctic regions, particularly areas where the ice is thickest and most inaccessible to conventional exploration. These locations would provide ideal concealment for any objects or activities that needed to remain hidden from human observation. Some researchers have proposed that these reports might represent encounters with previously unknown natural phenomena. The Arctic Ocean contains unique geological and electromagnetic conditions that could potentially create effects that mimic artificial objects or technologies. Underwater volcanic activity, unusual ice formation processes, or previously undiscovered forms of marine life could theoretically explain some of the reported observations. However, the consistency and technical specificity of the reports suggest that purely natural explanations might not account for all the observed phenomena. The objects' apparent ability to move through solid ice, their high-speed underwater capabilities, and their unusual electromagnetic signatures collectively describe capabilities that exceed known natural processes. The possibility that these reports represent encounters with non-human technology has attracted attention from researchers studying the potential for extraterrestrial visitation. The Arctic regions would provide ideal concealment for any non-human technology that needed to remain hidden while maintaining access to Earth's oceans and atmosphere. The remote, inhospitable conditions would make detection and investigation extremely difficult. Alternative theories suggest that the reports might represent secret human technology projects. Advanced nations could theoretically be testing underwater vehicles or detection systems in Arctic regions where observation by other countries would be minimal. However, the capabilities described in the reports would represent technological breakthroughs that exceed publicly known human engineering by substantial margins. The challenge of investigating these reports lies in the extreme conditions of the Arctic environment. Comprehensive exploration of suspected activity areas would require massive resources and specialized equipment that few organizations possess. The harsh, climate-shifting ice conditions and political sensitivities of Arctic exploration make systematic investigations extremely difficult. Recent advances in polar exploration technology offer new possibilities for investigating Arctic anomalies. Autonomous underwater vehicles, advanced ice-penetrating radar, and improved satellite surveillance systems could potentially provide definitive evidence about the nature of reported phenomena. However, such investigations would require international cooperation and substantial financial investment. The broader implications of these reports extend beyond questions about extraterrestrial technology. If unknown objects are operating in Arctic waters, they represent potential threats to naval operations, environmental monitoring, and scientific research in polar regions. Understanding their nature and capabilities would be crucial for national security and safe Arctic operations. The Arctic technology mystery also highlights the limitations of human knowledge about our own planet's most remote regions. The polar oceans remain less explored than the surface of Mars, and the thick Arctic ice sheet conceals vast areas that have never been systematically investigated. Unknown phenomena in these regions might represent natural processes, secret human activities, or something else entirely. What technologies or phenomena could operate beneath Arctic ice with capabilities that exceed known human engineering and natural processes? Research on ancient Antarctic ice. Messages from a frozen world. Deep within the Antarctic ice sheet, trapped in layers of frozen water that have remained undisturbed for millions of years, scientists have discovered chemical signatures that shouldn't exist on Earth. These aren't just exotic ice crystals or unusual atmospheric particles. They're mineral formations that mirror compounds found on Mars, suggesting that Antarctica might contain direct evidence of interplanetary material exchange or previously unknown geological processes that operate on multiple worlds. The discovery began with routine ice core drilling operations designed to study Earth's climate history. As researchers extracted cylindrical sections of ice from depths of several kilometers, they expected to find atmospheric particles, volcanic ash, and other materials that would provide insights into ancient climate conditions. Instead, they found something that forced them to reconsider fundamental assumptions about Earth's geological processes. Embedded within ice layers, dating back hundreds of thousands of years, researchers identified substantial quantities of gyrosite, a rare iron sulfate mineral that forms under very specific chemical conditions involving water acids and sulfate compounds. On Earth, gyrosite had previously been found only in industrial waste sites and certain continental ore deposits where unusual chemical processes had created the precise conditions necessary for its formation. The problem with finding gyrosite in ancient Antarctic ice is that the conditions required for its formation shouldn't exist in polar environments. The mineral requires the interaction of iron-rich materials with acidic, sulfate-laden water under conditions that typically occur in geologically active areas with significant chemical weathering. Antarctica's ice sheets represent some of the most chemically stable environments on Earth, making the presence of gyrosite a geological impossibility. Chemical analysis of the Antarctic gyrosite revealed additional puzzles. The mineral's crystal structure and chemical composition exactly matched samples of gyrosite discovered on Mars by NASA's robotic explorers. On Mars, gyrosite appears in depression areas that show evidence of ancient water activity, forming part of large, sulfate-rich mineral deposits that scientists believe resulted from the evaporation of ancient Martian lakes and seas. The similarity between Antarctic and Martian gyrosite samples is too precise to be coincidental. Isotopic analysis shows that both samples formed under nearly identical chemical conditions, suggesting either that similar geological processes operate on both planets or that material has somehow been exchanged between Earth and Mars. Both possibilities have profound implications for our understanding of planetary geology and the potential for life in the solar system. The mechanism for gyrosite formation in Antarctic ice remains mysterious. The leading hypothesis suggests that iron-rich cosmic dust becomes buried in accumulating ice and undergoes slow chemical decomposition under the unique conditions present within the ice sheet. The process would require the presence of trace acids and sulfate compounds within the ice, along with the gradual movement of liquid water through the ice structure, even at temperatures well below freezing. This proposed formation mechanism has implications that extend far beyond mineralogy. If chemical processes can create Mars-like mineral formations within Earth's ice sheets, it suggests that the boundary between terrestrial and extraterrestrial chemistry might be less distinct than we've assumed. The discovery implies that similar chemical evolution could occur on any world with appropriate ice and atmospheric conditions. The research has also revealed that Antarctic gyrosite formation appears to be an ongoing process. Different ice layers contain varying concentrations of the mineral, suggesting that its formation rate changes in response to atmospheric conditions, cosmic dust influx, or other factors that vary over geological timescales. This temporal variation provides insights into how planetary chemical processes respond to changing environmental conditions. The discovery has prompted researchers to search for other impossible minerals within Antarctic ice cores. Preliminary results suggest that gyrosite might not be unique. Other mineral formations that mirror extraterrestrial chemistry have been tentatively identified in deep ice samples. These findings collectively suggest that Antarctica's ice sheets might contain a record of chemical processes that bridge terrestrial and extraterrestrial environments. The implications for astrobiology are particularly intriguing. If Earth and Mars can produce identical mineral formations through similar chemical processes, it strengthens the possibility that biological processes might also operate similarly on both planets. The chemical conditions that create gyrosite are compatible with certain types of extremophile bacteria, suggesting that life might be possible in environments that produce these mineral signatures. The research has also provided new insights into the history of the solar system and the exchange of material between planets. The presence of Mars-like minerals in Earth's ice suggests that our planet might regularly receive and process extraterrestrial materials in ways that we haven't previously recognized. This material exchange could have played a role in the development of life on Earth and might continue to influence our planet's chemistry today. Advanced analytical techniques are revealing additional layers of complexity in Antarctic ice chemistry. Mass spectrometry and electron microscopy have identified organic compounds associated with gyrosite formations, suggesting that the chemical processes creating these minerals might also be capable of producing or preserving complex carbon-based molecules. These organic associations raise questions about the potential for chemical evolution in ice environments. The discovery has sparked interest in using Antarctic ice as an analog for understanding chemical processes on other icy worlds throughout the solar system. Europa Enceladus and other moons with subsurface oceans might harbor similar chemical processes that could create mineral signatures detectable by future space missions. Understanding how these processes work in Antarctic ice could provide templates for interpreting observations from extraterrestrial ice environments. Climate change is adding urgency to Antarctic ice research. As global temperatures rise and ice sheets begin to destabilize, the ancient chemical records preserved in Antarctic ice might be lost before we fully understand their implications. The race to extract and analyze deep ice cores has become critical for preserving this unique archive of planetary chemical evolution. The Antarctic gyrosite discovery represents a fundamental challenge to our understanding of the uniqueness of Earth's geological processes. If our planet can naturally produce mineral formations identical to those found on Mars, it suggests that the chemical evolution of rocky planets might follow more universal principles than we've assumed. What other interplanetary chemical processes might be operating on Earth without our recognition, and what do they reveal about the potential for life throughout the solar system? The extraterrestrial and space mysteries we've explored reveal that the boundary between Earth-based and cosmic phenomena is far more complex than our everyday experience suggests. From impossible chemistry on Jupiter's moons to potential hidden technology in Arctic ice, to Mars-like minerals forming in Antarctic glaciers, we're confronting evidence that cosmic processes directly influence and intersect with terrestrial systems in ways we're only beginning to understand. These discoveries share a common theme. They all challenge our assumptions about what's unique to Earth versus what might be universal processes operating throughout the cosmos. The exotic salt ice compounds on Europa suggest that complex chemistry can emerge under conditions we thought were prohibitive for sophisticated molecular interactions. The Arctic technology reports imply that our planet might be subject to observation or visitation by intelligences using capabilities that exceed our current understanding. The Antarctic mineral discoveries demonstrate that interplanetary chemical processes operate right here on Earth, creating signatures that mirror what we find on other worlds. Perhaps most significantly, these cosmic mysteries force us to reconsider our place in the universe, in the uniqueness of Earth's systems. Rather than being isolated from cosmic processes, our planet appears to be intimately connected to chemical, physical, and possibly technological phenomena that operate on interplanetary or even interstellar scales. This interconnectedness suggests that understanding Earth fully requires understanding its cosmic context and the universal processes that shape planetary evolution throughout the galaxy. As we step back from these 15 individual mysteries spanning archaeology, physics, biology, lost civilizations, and cosmic phenomena, striking patterns emerge that suggest these aren't isolated anomalies, but interconnected pieces of a larger puzzle about the nature of reality, human history, and our cosmic context. The most prominent theme connecting these mysteries is the consistent evidence of hidden complexity, whether in ancient human capabilities, quantum physical processes, biological evolution, historical records, or cosmic chemistry. Each category reveals that our current understanding systematically underestimates the sophistication and interconnectedness of natural and potentially artificial systems operating at scales from quantum to cosmic. Consider how the precision engineering of Nan Madol parallels the geometric perfection of crop circles, both demonstrating capabilities for creating organized complexity through unknown mechanisms. The systematic information storage implied by Sri Lanka's alien mountain petroglyphs connects to the alleged metal library of the Taos cave, suggesting that advanced record-keeping systems might be far older and more widespread than conventional history acknowledges. The biological mysteries reveal similar patterns of hidden potential and complexity. Ghost DNA populations in human genetics parallel the dormant venom-producing capabilities in our genome, both indicating that biological systems contain far more evolutionary possibility than their current expression suggests. The mysterious Arctic creatures represent the same theme in contemporary biology. Complex life forms operating in extreme conditions that challenge our understanding of what's biologically possible. Perhaps most intriguingly, the cosmic and terrestrial mysteries show direct intersections. The Mars-like minerals forming in Antarctic ice demonstrate that interplanetary chemical processes operate on Earth, while the exotic chemistry on Jupiter's moons suggests that cosmic environments can support complexity that we haven't learned to recognize or replicate. The alleged Arctic technology phenomena, whether extraterrestrial or terrestrial in origin, represent the possibility that advanced capabilities might be operating in Earth's most remote environments. The temporal patterns across these mysteries also suggest deeper connections. Many of the archaeological anomalies cluster around similar time periods. The quantum physics discoveries are revealing timeless principles that were always operating but only recently detected. And the biological mysteries often involve capabilities that existed for millions of years before being discovered. This temporal clustering suggests that either we're entering a period of accelerated discovery, or that certain capabilities and phenomena become accessible or visible only under specific conditions. The geographic patterns are equally suggestive. Remote extreme environments, from Arctic ice to deep caves to isolated islands, consistently harbor the most profound mysteries. This pattern might reflect preservation of ancient evidence in harsh conditions, the operation of natural processes under extreme parameters, or the intentional placement of advanced technologies in locations that would avoid casual detection. Most remarkably, these mysteries collectively suggest that reality operates according to principles that consistently exceed our theoretical frameworks. Whether we're examining ancient engineering, quantum mechanics, evolutionary biology, historical records, or cosmic chemistry, we encounter evidence of capabilities, complexity, and interconnections that our current scientific and historical models cannot adequately explain. This doesn't necessarily imply supernatural explanations, but rather indicates that natural processes, human potential, and cosmic systems might be far more sophisticated and interconnected than our disciplinary boundaries and theoretical limitations have allowed us to recognize. The mysteries point toward a universe where consciousness, technology, biology, and physics interact in ways that we're only beginning to glimpse. The mystery deepens. As we reach the end of our journey through these 29 unsolved mysteries, we find ourselves in a profoundly different place than where we started. We began with questions about individual anomalies, strange artifacts, impossible engineering, mysterious DNA sequences, and unexplained phenomena. But what we've discovered is something far more significant, evidence of a reality that operates according to principles we're only beginning to understand. Each mystery we've explored has revealed that our assumptions about what's possible, what's known, and what's been achieved throughout human history might be fundamentally incomplete. The precision of ancient engineering projects like Nan Madol suggests technological capabilities that don't fit our models of historical development. The quantum reversibility of time challenges our most basic assumptions about causality in the nature of reality itself. The genetic ghosts in our DNA prove that human evolution involved complexities that left no trace in the fossil record but persist in our very cells. Perhaps most unsettling is the realization that these mysteries aren't isolated anomalies that can be explained away individually. They form patterns that suggest systematic gaps in our understanding across multiple fields of knowledge. When ancient civilizations demonstrate impossible engineering capabilities, when quantum physics reveals that time might not work as we assume, when biology shows that evolution contains hidden possibilities, and when cosmic chemistry operates on Earth in ways we didn't expect, we're not dealing with random oddities, but with evidence of underlying principles that we haven't yet learned to recognize. This has profound implications for how we think about human potential and our place in the universe. If our ancestors possessed capabilities we've lost or never recognized, what does that say about the trajectory of human development? If consciousness can influence quantum systems, what role might human awareness play in shaping physical reality? If our genome contains dormant potentials for abilities we don't currently express, what triggers might activate these hidden capabilities? The mysteries also force us to confront the limitations of our scientific and historical methods. The fact that so many significant phenomena operate at the edges of our detection capabilities, in remote locations, at quantum scales, in extreme environments, or through processes that leave minimal traces, suggests that reality might be far richer and more complex than our current tools and theories can capture. But perhaps the most important lesson from these mysteries is that they represent opportunities rather than obstacles. Each unexplained phenomenon is an invitation to expand our understanding, to develop new tools and theories, and to consider possibilities that our current frameworks don't accommodate. They remind us that the frontier of human knowledge isn't a distant boundary, but a present reality that surrounds us in our everyday world. The patterns we've discovered suggest that we might be on the verge of breakthrough discoveries that could revolutionize our understanding of consciousness, technology, biology, and our cosmic context. The convergence of advanced archaeological techniques, quantum physics research, genetic analysis, and space exploration technologies means that many of these mysteries might be solvable within our lifetimes, if we approach them with the right combination of rigorous investigation and open-minded inquiry. The mysteries also carry a deeper message about the nature of wonder and discovery. In an age when we often assume that the important questions have been answered and the significant discoveries have been made, these phenomena remind us that we live in a universe that consistently exceeds our expectations and challenges our assumptions. They suggest that every generation has the opportunity to make discoveries that fundamentally alter human understanding. As we look toward the future, these mysteries provide roadmaps for investigation and exploration. They point toward research directions that could yield insights into the deepest questions about reality, consciousness, human potential, and our relationship to the cosmos. They suggest that the next great leaps in human understanding might come not from confirming what we already believe, but from investigating what we currently consider impossible. The 29 mysteries we've explored today represent just a small sample of the phenomena that challenge our understanding of reality. Across every field of human knowledge, from archaeology to physics, from biology to consciousness studies, researchers are encountering evidence that suggests our current models of reality are incomplete in fundamental ways. This isn't a cause for despair about the limitations of human knowledge, but for excitement about the discoveries that await us. We live in a universe that appears to be far more mysterious, interconnected, and full of potential than we've dared to imagine. The question isn't whether these mysteries will be solved, but what paradigm-shifting discoveries await us as we develop the tools and wisdom necessary to understand them. So I leave you with this challenge. Stay curious, question assumptions, and remain open to possibilities that exceed the boundaries of current knowledge. Because if these mysteries teach us anything, it's that reality itself is far stranger and more wonderful than we've yet learned to comprehend. What mystery intrigued you most? Which questions will keep you thinking long after this video ends? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Subscribe for more explorations into the unknown, and remember, the greatest discoveries often begin with someone willing to ask, what if everything we think we know is just the beginning? The mystery deepens, and that's exactly where the adventure begins.